Hey, what's going on, guys? It's FPL Yusuf here, and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be going over my game week 15 transfer targets ahead of this coming weekend. I'm going to cover the transfers that I'm looking to make. We're going to talk about some players and is it time to sell them? And also, we're going to cover just some long-term players who we could be looking to bring in to hold over this sort of Christmas period coming up. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for being here with me today on my YouTube channel for another video. Before we get into this one, if you wouldn't mind dropping a thumbs up and subscribing down below, it would be greatly appreciated. Okay, so firstly, just before we get into this video, I just want to apologize if my voice is sounding a little bit croaky. I'm starting to come just with a little bit of a cold, I think, at this time. So yeah, if my voice is sounding a little bit different, I do apologize. But I am just going to try and rattle through this one and just get this video out for you guys, just so we can talk about some transfers, some players who we're going to be looking to bring in, some we're going to be looking to sell as well. So yeah, just bear with me on on the whole voicing. I know it sounds a little bit different. Okay, so firstly, I just want to go over a few different players and whether it's time to sell them or not. So the first one I want to start with is Brian Mbeumo, because this is actually a decision which I have to make this week. And at the time of me recording this, I've had to re-record it. Unfortunately, I did record this yesterday, which was Wednesday, but my audio is just cut out, so I'm re-recording this again today, which is Thursday. So at the time of me recording this, Bukayo Saka is actually looking predicted to rise. So for me, the choice that I have to make this week, and I know a few people probably will have the same option, is to move Mbeumo out and go to a Saka, a Palmer, or maybe you're going the opposite way and you want to drop Mbeumo down to free up money to move to like a Van Dijk, a Trent, someone like that. So yeah, for me, this is a decision which I personally have to make as well this week. And I think at the time of recording, like I said, Saka is looking predicted to rise, so I'm probably going to make that transfer tonight. I just think that Mbeumo, he's just not really in a good run of form at the moment. I think Brentford, when they're at home, are very good, very free scoring. But when they go away from home, I think the game just gone against Aston Villa kind of showed me everything I needed to see. Aston Villa have been very poor defensively this season. They've kept one clean sheet all season. And the fact that Brentford only scored one goal, their away form really is terrible. And I just think Mbeumo is playing too far out on the wide right, and he's just not a player that I want to hold for the time being. When I look at someone like Bukayo Saka, you might not have a Cole Palmer if you haven't got Mo Salah. These are all players that I'd want to be prioritizing bringing in over having Mbeumo. I know he's great at price, and I know a lot of us probably have a lot of value built up into him, but I just think that for the time being, especially with Brentford's fixture change as well, it's probably time to offload now. Okay, next up is Rayan Ait-Nouri, and I have to be honest with you, I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but I genuinely think that there's a possibility of selling him. I think it depends on when you bought him. So if you bought him like myself, I think I bought him at 4.5, so have a little bit of value tied up. He's currently sitting at 4.9 million right now. I think there's maybe more of a question to be asked, but if you are, thinking about it, I think the only thing that Ait-Nouri's got going for him is that he's got very good next three fixtures for him are very good. He's got West Ham, Ipswich, and I think Leicester is the next three. Now, ironically, I actually don't think Wolves are going to keep a clean sheet in any of them. I think the hope with Ait-Nouri, I touched on this a few weeks ago when I was bringing him in, was that he was going to get attacking returns. But after watching them play against Everton, who do not score goals at all, and they conceded 4, I'm really worried. And I am personally considering maybe getting rid of him. I think if you own him, you probably want to hold him for these 3 fixtures, right? Because you're probably not going to get much easier fixtures than this in a run of games. But however, once that third game goes, I think it's about game week 18, game week 17, somewhere around that, he will definitely be leaving my team. So I think if you've got Ait-Nouri, now's probably the time to keep him, but with the potential view that, okay, in a couple of weeks' time, before we get to the end of the year, he's probably going to be leaving most of our teams. And the final player I just want to talk about is Rico Lewis. Now, for me, again, I think it's sort of the same as Ait-Nouri. It depends on when you bought him, how much you bought him for. I definitely wouldn't be going out and buying him now. I know Man City just come off the back of a clean sheet. He obviously didn't start that game, which is why he only got the 1-pointer. Do I think he'll start games over the Christmas period? Yeah, I do. I know Man City are having people and players coming back, but I still think Rico Lewis will still get minutes in this side. I just don't think that he offers enough. Man City defensively have not been great this year. He doesn't offer enough attacking threat for me to warrant him being in there. Now, I know if you bought him at 4.5, you've got a City defender at a very good price, but I just think now there's probably other players you'd probably want to target, maybe a Chelsea defender, a Brighton defender, someone who's going to guarantee you more minutes, especially over the Christmas period where, we're susceptible to seeing a lot of rotation. So, yeah, for me, I think, again, if you've got Rico Lewis, he's someone that you probably want to hold. However, if you haven't got him, do not be looking to buy him. Okay, so on to the transfers that I'm looking to make for my team this week. And I think the first one I just touched on that in that last section is moving Brian Mbeumo to Bukayo Saka. Now, I have the money in the bank to make this transfer. I only have one free transfer this week, so that would just be that. It'll be done. Saka plays against Fulham. I think Mbeumo has Newcastle. He is at home. I think Brentford are at the G-Tech, but to be honest with you, like I said, Mbeumo just for me is just not reliable at the moment. And Bukayo Saka, he offers such a good goal threat, but also his assist threat from corners in particular, and the way Arsenal score corners, I think it just has to make him a shoe-in to be owning at least for the next sort of 6-7 weeks. Even if you maybe you want to move him on after we get out the new year, Haaland might start to pick back up, and you want to find a route back to him. Maybe that's a potential, but I think for me, the consistency that Saka offers, I think that is probably going to be my number one change this week. There was a possibility that I roll the transfer and give Mbeumo another week, but to be honest with you, after what I saw against Aston Villa, I just don't think that that's going to happen. I think owning Bukayo Saka for Fulham away is something that I'm going to be wanting to have. The other transfers that I was potentially thinking about making was bringing Virgil van Dijk in. However, Trent has come back, and we saw him come off the bench as well and get 2 assists. Now, if Trent plays like the way he did in that Newcastle game every single game, then I think he becomes the number one defender to own. He's under 7 million now. He's at 6.9. I do think Liverpool will keep clean sheets over the next sort of 5-6 game weeks. I think Liverpool defence to target is definitely one. Maybe if you haven't got the money, like myself, when I make this transfer, I won't have the money to go to Van Dijk yet. There is a possibility that you go to Gomez, but you have to sort of prepare yourself that in a couple of weeks' time, Konate might be back, and that might be Gomez back out the team. So I think you have to take that one with a pinch of salt. But yeah, for me, like I said, the first transfer that I was looking to make is definitely going to be Mbeumo to Saka. There was a possibility that it was going to be a defensive transfer, but I think I'm just going to hold that for one more week and then look to bring in Van Dijk or Trent or Gomez, depending on which one I can afford, probably next week for game week 16. And I just want to go over just some players to target, maybe for a little bit of a longer run. The first one up is Evan Nilsson. Now, I've spoken about him about sort of 5-6 game weeks ago, I think it was, when I was doing my top 5 strikers for that period. I think it was a wild card time, maybe just before game week 12, when a lot of people were sort of wild carding between 8 and 12. For me, Evan Nilsson is somebody who I think actually has quite a good upside. Bournemouth's fixtures coming up are quite good. They have good fixtures which you can attack. I think Evan Nilsson will start every game. I think the one big thing around him is that he's probably not going to play 90 minutes, but I think when he does play up front in that Bournemouth side, I do think there are goals and assists for him to get. We saw him pick up 3 assists in the last game. A few of them were penalties, but I do think that he offers a lot, and I do think over the Christmas period he will get game time. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to be 90 minutes, but I think at cheap forward, at a time where people probably maybe questioning Cunha a little bit, knew he overperformed his XG. But I think over the last few weeks, we've all kind of seen him hit a bit of a plateau, and Wolves as well. But they're not playing particularly well. So there are some people making a question about should we move off Cunha now? And I think Evan Nilsson is definitely the first one up for me that I would be looking at sort of replacing as a cheap forward. Okay, second up is Nicholas Jackson. Now, obviously, Chelsea's fixtures on paper are just fantastic. So disappointed. Well, it's a bit sweet for me. I'm disappointed that Jackson didn't start, because obviously I felt the upside was there for Southampton. Obviously, Chelsea scored 5 goals. However, I do have Anthony Gordon on my bench this week, so it's not all bad. I just think that Jackson, over these next sort of 5-6 game weeks, I think he's had his rest now. I think that game against Southampton, some people were saying he might get his yellow card for the Southampton game to have a rest. I didn't actually think he'd be rested in this one, because he came off in the 70th minute in the game before. However, I think he's had his game now where he's rested. He'll be back in against Tottenham next week, and I just expect him to play through the rest of the Christmas period as well. So yeah, for me, Nicholas Jackson, number 2 on this list for like just players to target. A lot of them are forwards, as you can see, but I just think that this is where the upside really is right now in FPL. And the third option is Ollie Watkins. Now, I know if you listen to Villa fans and you hear the way Villa fans speak about Ollie Watkins, he's missing a few big chances. However, I think Ollie Watkins is a perfect long-term hold right now. If you were looking for someone just to bring in and to hold for the next sort of 10, 12 game weeks, I think Ollie Watkins is perfect. He is on the expensive side, of course. He's 9 million. But I do think Villa will get chances, and I do expect him to play most of the games. He'll definitely start them all. And I do think that there are points here for him to be picking up over this course. You'd like to hope that he starts to pick up his finishing boots a little bit more, because he is getting a lot of chances, and he's just maybe missing a few that he should be burying. If this was the Watkins from last season, I think he'd probably be double-digit goals already by now. So yeah, for me, I think Watkins is one to definitely keep an eye on. I haven't put him in the top 2 because of the price factor more so. That I think Jackson, you're just going to get better value for money. But I do like Ollie Watkins, and if you're not afraid to just put the money in there and just hold him for the sort of next 10, 12 weeks, I actually really like Ollie Watkins as a pick. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. I will be back tomorrow with a FPL challenge video, and I will try and get one up tomorrow evening as well, for my final team selection ahead of Saturday's deadline. Obviously, like I said, I'm not feeling 100% at the moment, so I can't promise that I'm going to get those videos up, but the FPL challenge one definitely will be up tomorrow. But like I said, I will try and get the final team selection up for you guys before Saturday morning. So like I said, if you have enjoyed it, don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below, and I'll catch you guys next time.